What up, RVU fam? It's the CEO Daniel Johnson back of Risen Vision Comics. Here giving you episode 2 of how to create a comic book series for the writers, or also graphic novels, or whatever your preference of writing a book is. So first and foremost, I want to say shout out to everybody out there, for giving me an opportunity, to come before you, and thank you for viewing the video today. We have another great episode today, and today's episode is going to be about setting the tone in the beginning. Basically, episode 1, we're gonna do a review real quick. Episode 1 was about brainstorming. Think and brainstorm of a story. Talking about being different as far as like coming up with a city, the storyline of the comic, what is the book mainly focused on, think and start brainstorming our characters, main character, the villain, the side characters, the co-lead characters, being unique, do something that has never been done before, and mix if possible, but make sure everything makes sense. That was episode 1, excuse me. Right back. So again, yes, episode 1 was all about brainstorming. Episode 2, we're going to be talking about mainly today. It's about setting the tone in the beginning of your story. So I talked about detailing the beginnings of the story. First and foremost, I want to say also, Saint Issue 1 is now available on RisenVision.org. Also, Saint Issue 2 is now available on RisenVision.org. Also, Risen Vision hats. Excuse my logo right there. I don't want to promote Frito-Lay. But yeah, we have shirts. We have all kind of stuff online. But again, issue 1 and issue 2 is now online at the website RisenVision.org. They're on sale for $19.99. So go get your copy. They're great stories. Just to analyze what episode 2 is about. Setting the tone in the beginning. The storylines. Of this young man. About finding his purpose and like find out who he is. After having a tragic accident happen in his life, and God basically leading him to become this hero that he's called to become. So yes, we're gonna get started, man. Start writing and setting a tone in the beginning. So basically, long story short, that kind of goes back to piggybacking off the first episode, we talked about brainstorming. Brainstorming, when you're thinking about what you wanna, write, putting everything together before you even write. You know what I'm saying? Taking a little piece of paper, I would say, and just deciding exactly what you want to put in the story. What's the main purpose of the story? In episode 2 today, so start writing and setting the tone in the beginning. So basically, long story short, um, in the beginning of the story, you have a lot of books. I'm gonna just say this because I know everybody have different opinions, when it comes to writing a book. But I'm gonna say in my idea and my style of writing a comic book, and you can use that or you can find your own and mix it. This is just my personal opinion. I like to set the tone early in my stories, where there's a beginning that I show what's happening, and it's going to it's going to lead to the end result of the story. So if you're looking at something that's happening in the beginning of the story, you're going to learn right off the bat who is, the problem, or who is the main character, the antagonist, the villain, the hero, whatever it needs to be. If the city is the setting of the, of the story. Say for example, like if, let's just say you have a city, that you created in your story, and it's a chaotic city, a lot of hell and terrorism happening in that city, a lot of chaos. You want to set the tone in your comic book, by showing that and talking about it, or you can show it by pictures, like I said, I prefer in my comic books, to talk about it, I like, to put, the words on the side so people can also see where I'm coming from, telling detail in the story, so in a story like that where you would show a book, where it's all about like a city being, terrorized, on the side you'll have your story. That's part is like setting the tone. You're showing the city and people can see that. Okay, so right off the bat, you open a book, just the first page you see. It's going to be a story, about someone dealing with a city, that is in terror right now. That is chaotic. It's a lot of stuff going on. So of course you'll give the name of the city, like I talk about in episode 1. That's in your brainstorm, and you'll talk about exactly, what this city, exactly, what this city, exactly what's going on in this city. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? Just like I can piggyback off of episode 1. When you first open the book, I have a long saying. I'm not gonna read it to y'all, but if you look right here, the first page, you can see on the side, I give you a little, a little, a little, synopsis of what's going on. You see the weapon right here, and that's an important part of the story. So it basically setting the tone so you can see where it's coming from, and then from there, the story goes from, you know, me setting the tone with the weapon to, if you look right here, I'll go ahead and give you all the spoiler, from the weapon to, his two masters right here giving him the sword. And as you can see, he gets the sword right here, and then we go into, the next part, which I won't spoil for y'all. Again, you can buy the book online, 19.99. Saint Gauls Warrior, issue 1 is on sale, but that is the beginning. Just to make a long story short, like I said again, that would be an example of setting a tone. Instantly getting to the point of what the story is about. And again, I say this because I know everybody have their own suggestions or opinions on that. This is particularly my opinion, my suggestion on it. And that's just the way, I do my stories. But I feel like, there is a particular way. But like I say, that's the way I like to do my stories. Just like I said in the first episode, just because the issue don't mean it have to be 22 pages. If it's your comic book and you have a vision for, a bigger comic book and you want to call it that, you can call it that. That's the way I see it. So that's what I would say, setting the tone. So like I said, when you do it, you in your brainstorm, you already have everything, and it makes it much easier for you to bring your story together. Setting your tone, letting the audience know right off the bat, exactly what's going on in the story. Without giving away. Now here's the balance, without giving away exactly, the complete answer, you know what I'm saying, but giving them like, okay, so this is the problem basically, and then from there it'll be interesting for them. So we're gonna jump into the next one. After brainstorming out your book, put together the story on paper. Which we already did. We already talked about. So like I said, long story short, after you put everything, to the side and you brainstormed or whatever, then you're gonna put it on paper. Next, you want to decide where you want your book to begin at. And again, that's talking about setting the tone in the beginning. That's basically what I'm talking about right here. You want to next decide if you want to tell the main story at the beginning of the book, and then work back to that line of the story. In other words, use the end of the book as a spoiler, and work the story till it hits that spoiler again. I'm gonna read that again. Decide if you want to tell the main story at the beginning of the book. Think about this, right? And then work back to that line of the story. In other words, use the end of the book as a spoiler and work the story till it hits that spoiler again. If you look in some of your movies, if you look at movies, movies do that. Some movies, they'll start out, and I've seen this in the comic books a lot too. Some comic books, some stories, they'll start out, where they're telling the end story in the beginning, and when they get to the interesting part of the story, then they'll cut it. Then they'll cut to the beginning of the story and how they got to that section. So you can, again, that goes back to what I was just saying. You can tell a story however you want to tell it. It's just on you. But again, I would say, I personally think that's a good way. Like I said, I don't tell my stories particularly like that. It is a good way though, and this one way, like I said, I recommend. Maybe in the future I may do that. But like I said, the way I like telling my stories, like I said again, is getting, basically getting to what is the problem of the story, and exactly what the story is about. And like I say, that is the typical average way that most stories do it, even most movies, will let you know off the bat. Look at the Star Wars movies. When the Star Wars movies first come up, They got the credit scenes, where they're showing exactly what's going on in the story. That would be a perfect example, I feel like, of telling, the story without giving away too much, keeping it, what's the word? Keeping it suspenseful, because that's where you end. Um, and last but not least, I would say, okay, and this is piggybacking off that. I say use the end of the book as a spoiler and work the story till it hits that spoiler again. Or start your story with an origin and skip to the main antagonist, but in your style of a book. Again, that goes back to what I was saying. This is my opinion. That's the way I prefer to do it. But like I say, depending on your style, don't let nobody tell you what you can or cannot do, man. If you have a vision, and you want to write a book a particular way, man, go for it, bro. Man, don't let nobody tell you, oh, this ain't the right way. That ain't who's to tell you can't write a book the right way. Yeah, now don't get me wrong. You learn, you learn the classic traits and tactics, to writing a comic book. But like I said, you put your own flavor into it. That's what make it different. You got to be different today. So again, start your story with an origin and skip to the main antagonist, but in your style of the book. Um, this is one of those situations like, again, going back to issue 1. In my book of issue 1, the main antagonist, he comes after, I've introduced the problem in the book. And I jump skip a couple years ahead, and then we introduce the antagonist. The main guy, basically. So you can do it like that. And like I said, that's the, that's again, that's a way of your, if you want to do it like that or not. Like I said, that goes to rather, your way of doing. If you want to again, go with, you know, starting a story from the end and then jumping to the beginning and working your way to that end part that you begin with, or again, starting your story all the way from the beginning with an origin. I'm gonna give you a quick example on that. Let's say you have, let's use Black Panther for an example. The history of Black Panther. We seen the movie of Black Panther, the origin. They started the story out talking about Wakanda. And exactly where vibranium came from. And how powerful it is and everything. That would be particularly considered as an origin. You can use that in so many words. You know what I'm saying? And in a way, it's similar. To, what I'm saying, to what I was talking about. Basically, like your origin, can be used, what I'm saying, as, the main problem, or your origin can be used as something else. It just depends on, again, all that really depends on your story. And that's what I would say. What I'm saying? All of that depends on your story. So um yeah, man. Going back to what I said, episode 2, start writing and setting the tone in the beginning. Long story short, man, I would say this, when you writing a book, like I told you, always stick to episode 1. If you don't know what to write, man, and you sitting there like, man, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to do, I don't know why it's so hard, man. Look, make sure you brainstorm, because when you brainstorm, it makes your process so much easier. So much easier, people. Brainstorm. Put everything together you have to put together first. That was my problem I had, even writing Saint years ago. It took a couple years to get the story together all together, because I never really brainstormed. Like I said, I had to finally put it all together in my head, and I wrote it down, and I was able to bring it all together one piece at a time. Even for the second book, like I said, this is for another episode, and it's gonna be down the lines when you write into the next issue. But like I said, you want to be able to do that, man. So I want to again thank y'all, man, for giving me opportunity to be on here, man. This is the CEO Daniel Johnson, Risen Vision, and God bless you, her, man. Again, check out our website, risenvision.org, where you can purchase Saint Issue 1 for $20. Also, Saint Issue 2, where you can purchase Issue 2 for $20. But I know most people like to start with the first book because you got to understand the story, and then you can jump into the second book. And be staying tuned, man. We have a subscribe button on there, man. Become a fan. Subscribe to the website. Also, check us out on Facebook, man. Risen Vision Comics, space Thoughts of Light. Again, that's Risen Vision Comics, space Thoughts of Light. Also, check us out on Instagram at RV Comics. Again, that's at RV Comics. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. I thank y'all, man. CEO of Risen Vision. You understand? Episode 3 coming real soon. Y'all stay tuned. Again, thank y'all. God bless. Y'all have a good night, man, and keep striving, bruh. One.